Junior analyst Vectra couldn't help but roll her eyes as the Xilaxian High Command congratulated themselves on what they believed was their genius plan to subjugate humanity. Her desire to bang her head against her crystalline datapad grew stronger as Admiral Zal's voice boomed across the war chamber, repeating his dismissive opinions on humanity for what felt like the 1000th time. "These humans," Zal sneered, gesturing to the holographic display of Earth, "are barely more than primitives. Look at their pitiful excuse for a space fleet. Their largest warship wouldn't even be suitable as a diplomatic courier in our grand fleet." Vectra's inner voice dripped with sarcasm. Yes, because a species that went from wooden planes to landing on their moon in under 70 years is clearly a primitive one. Nothing odd at all about how they slowed their military development after first contact. The war chamber's crystalline walls reflected the animated gestures of the dozen highest-ranking military officials of the Xilaxian Empire as they schemed humanity's downfall. The holographic display switched to show human colonies, each marked with strategic targets. "Our colonies are completely exposed," General Kex boasted, his scales gleaming with pride. "No orbital defenses, minimal ground-to-space capabilities. It's like they're begging us to take them." Vectra couldn't shake the thought, or maybe they're just experts at hiding things like how 3 aggressive species mysteriously vanished after trying to raid human space. Admiral Zal's voice broke through her musings. "You've studied human behavior. What's your assessment, Vectra?" Vectra straightened, feeling the weight of the sudden attention. "Supreme Ones, while their military might appear limited, there are some concerning patterns." Zal chuckled. "Concerning? About a species that still uses chemical rockets for civilian travel?" Vectra's scales tightened. "Well, sir, there's their media. Their stories often revolve around scenarios where technologically superior forces underestimate them, and it doesn't end well for those forces." General Kex interrupted. "You're concerned about their entertainment?" "That's the crux of it," Vectra insisted. "Their most popular stories share a theme. They call it humanity. It's almost as if they're laughing at something only they understand." The room erupted in laughter, with Admiral Zal wiping his eyes with a tentacle. "Next, you'll tell us their myths about fire-breathing dragons are real too. The strike plans are approved. We'll hit all their colonies simultaneously, a swift, decisive blow to show our superiority. By the time Earth can react, their colonies will be ours." As the war chamber emptied, Vectra stared at the peaceful hologram of Earth spinning in space. "I hope someone's keeping track of all the signs we're ignoring," she muttered. "It'll make a nice historical record of how we asked for whatever happens next." Sarah Chin had always imagined that if aliens attacked, there would be some sort of dramatic buildup. A mysterious signal, ships appearing near Pluto, or at least a formal declaration of war. But instead, she found herself sipping her morning coffee, reviewing agricultural reports, when New Eden's sky suddenly erupted into flames. "Well, this is going to wreck our quarterly productivity numbers," Sarah muttered as plasma bolts tore through the colony's atmosphere. The colony's sirens wailed mournfully through the main dome, a sound usually reserved for drills. Sarah set her coffee mug down carefully and pressed her palm against the DNA reader on her desk. Colonial Administrator Sarah Chin. Authorization: Dragon's Tooth 794, she said clearly as holographic displays sprang to life around her. Initiate Colony Defense Protocol Alpha. And get Earth on the quantum line before they blow up our transmitter. Her staff moved with practiced efficiency, though a few smiles hinted at a bit too much humor for an alien invasion. But then again, human humor was an old tradition. Administrator, called Rodriguez her communications chief. Multiple contacts in orbit. Zillion warships, at least 30 capital-class vessels. They're targeting all major infrastructure. Sarah watched through the external cameras as massive ships emerged from hyperspace, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the light. They're beautiful in a way, she observed, like giant angry chandeliers. They're broadcasting demands for immediate surrender, Rodriguez continued. Are they now? Sarah's smile was predatory. Put them on speaker. I could use a laugh. The voice that filled the command center was dripping with condescension. Primitive human settlement, this is Admiral Zal of the glorious Xilaxian Empire. Your colony is now under our protection. Resist and we will be forced to. Yeah, Sarah interrupted, typing quickly. Quick question, Admiral. Did anyone in your glorious empire ever wonder why humans only build colonies on worlds with really deep cave systems? There was a pause. Your primitive tunnel networks will not. Fascinating reply. Here's another question. Did you know humans have this really old saying about poking dragons? The Admiral's confusion was palpable. Your mythological creatures. Not the final question. Sarah's grin widened as her display confirmed systems were ready. Did you actually think those seismic readings from our mining operations were natural? With a press of a button, the ground beneath New Eden shuddered. Massive hangar doors, disguised as mineral deposits, slid open. Artillery placements, once camouflaged as mining equipment, revealed their true nature. From the depths of New Eden's mining tunnels emerged the dragons. They weren't biological dragons, of course. They were something far more practical. Heavily armed, atmosphere-capable warships humanity had quietly stationed on every colony world, hidden underground until the time was right. Sarah quickly opened a channel to Earth as the first explosions lit up the orbital theater. UNSF Command, this is New Eden Colony. We're under attack by Zillion forces, she said. Also, we'll need more anti-IP ammunition soon and possibly some forms to file for activating military assets without prior notification. Reports flooded in from other colonies. Harmony, New Shanghai, Tourist Prime. Every single one was telling the same story. Alien ships arriving to find helpless prey, only to discover sharp, well-hidden teeth. Impossible. The Zillion Admiral's voice was growing frantic. Your colonies were supposed to be defenseless. Oh, about that. Sarah took another sip of her coffee. Pro tip for future reference. If something looks too easy, it's probably a trap. But hey, don't feel too bad. You're not the first to make this mistake. You're just the first we're letting live to tell about it.
New Eden's planetary defense grid came online fully, with camouflaged installations emerging from mountains and ocean floors. Sarah decided this called for a coffee refill. Oh, and Admiral, she keyed the broadcast one last time. Welcome to humanity's actual military capabilities. We do hope you'll stick around long enough to see the really interesting stuff when Earth gets here. I hear the Sol Defense Fleet has been dying for a proper field test. A year later, The Galactic Council chamber was unusually quiet as Admiral Rodriguez finished his presentation. The holographic display still showed the final simulation of what a fully unleashed human fleet could do to a solar system. Several representatives looked slightly ill. And that, ladies and gentlemen, Rodriguez concluded, is why the new Galactic Charter includes what we're calling the Dragon Protocols. Think of them as guidelines for interspecies harmony. Vectra, now Earth's ambassador to the Xilaxian Empire, tried not to smile as her former leaders nodded enthusiastically. Nothing motivated peaceful cooperation, quite like watching humanity casually rewrite the laws of physics during a war. The good news, Rodriguez continued, is that we're still committed to being nice. The colonies are almost rebuilt, better than before, thanks to Xilaxian crystalline architecture combined with human engineering. And yes, we're sharing some of our technology. The carefully screened parts, of course, so you don't accidentally cause a supernova. Vectra watched her former leaders deflate further with each new demand. They weren't even hiding their advanced technology anymore. The observation deck's quantum field generators bent reality in ways that made her scientist's heart ache with envy. Rodriguez's grin turned predatory. Second, we'll need access to your historical archives, especially the sealed records about the ancient spacefaring races. We've been wondering who left those old warning symbols about beware the dragons of soul carved into asteroid fields across half the galaxy. He paused, letting that sink in. You see, we weren't always on Earth. Our original home was somewhere else. We had to relocate after an unfortunate incident involving several hostile species and what our records call stellar engineering gone slightly wrong. The silence in the room was absolute. Let's just say, Rodriguez continued with a draconic grin, our quiet part of existence is over now. Vectra, would you like to explain to your leaders why poking sleeping dragons is generally inadvisable? Vectra smiled at her former superiors. Actually, sir, I believe you've made that point quite clear. Epilogue, new rules. Through the council chamber's transparent dome, Earth ships glided past, no longer hiding their true nature. They were beautiful and terrible, a reminder of what happened when the galaxy's dragons finally woke up. Somewhere on New Eden Colony, a human teacher was explaining to wide-eyed alien children why their history books now included a new advisory. In case of dragons, don't poke them. And if they offer to be nice, say thank you. The galaxy was learning new rules. The dragons were awake, but they were still trying to be neighborly most of the time.